Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. This is Ravu Kulusu. I am opening my room on the Clubhouse via Bar Club. I always open this room at 8 o'clock every day so that I can converse with my friends. And um, I have been talking about burnout a lot. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am an internal medicine physician, practiced about 40 years in United States, and I have also done a master's in biomedical informatics. So I was involved in implementation of EMRs in the hospitals and also helping people with implementation of the systems and process reengineering of the EMRs and workflows and training physicians and nurses in EMR adoption too. Uh, uh, Out of that, the burnout problem has come into OG, and I have been trying to help my physician friends with the burnout problems. And I thought I would run a room on burnout solutions. Every day we will be discussing problems related to that. Today, I'm going to talk about simple living and high thinking, how it plays a big role in reducing our stress and um, strain that we suffer, and the information overload we suffer, and overwhelmed, and also the brain fog people feel, and how they were not able to sleep very well, how they were having anxiety and headaches, and how they are not having the just in their uh, job satisfaction. All these factors led me to really help my friends with the burnout, as I have done this since 2008 with the physicians then um, adopting uh, EMRs were under tremendous stress, and their stress has gone up in the pandemic quite a bit. And even before that, physicians were unhappy with the bureaucracy, with the clerical duties of the EMR, and also the workload itself, and also not able to really make correct decisions for the patients because of the interference with the insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies. So they were given responsibility, but they're not given the authority enough to execute to what they think best for the patient. All these things I have experienced and I have seen, but my luck is I was more into yoga and Vedanta and other Indian systems which are ancient, but also Asian systems of China, Chinese system, and Egyptian, and so many other countries. The ancients have been living close to the nature, and they handle the stress much we are doing it here now. So with that kind of insight into lifestyles by the ancients, which was very, very conducive to holistic living, where they are mentally, physically, and spiritually strong. They are walking all the time. They were doing physical stuff manually, did not have all this technology. So that was a blessing in disguise for them. And so they were physically strong, flexible, and energetic. And in their mind, they were not having so many stimuli. So, and also there was a big cultural phenomenon of meditation in ancient India. So people were mostly doing mental relaxation and keeping the mind clear and keeping the mind simple. So they were mentally alert and aware and always in the present. Those two things really helped them to be healthy in the body and the mind too. And they also had deep spiritual insights from several people, including the emperors who promoted what was called mukti, that is liberation from your own mind. So they had a lifestyle that was conducive to that. In that vein, they had a simple life, but then they were thinking big about existential issues. What is life? Where did we come from? Where are we going? What is death? What happens after death? These are the existential issues that they dealt with. And because they needed some discipline, some sitting strength to sit down and contemplate and meditate these things. They kept their outward life as simple as possible, only the needs. And then this modern phenomenon of creating luxuries or wants or desires, but not that proliferate. So their only goal was how to reconnect with whatever the force that created us. So the ultimate consciousness. How can we merge with it? That was the true yoga. Uh, the hatha yoga that people practice now was a step to prepare ourselves towards that spiritual quest. So it was very important principle to live simply outside. That means not having too many desires, not having too many things, not accumulating too many things, so that kind of thing. But now modern culture, all this advertisement, all this promoting products, saying that unless you have this car or you have this particular gadget, you are not happy. They kind of promote that and we fall for that. So keeping the life simple outward and having the inner riches was the thing I learned from the ancients. So with that kind of thing, I'm going to start the discussion with my friends. If anybody wants to come up and talk about this topic, I'll welcome people who are here. Karthik and Raj, if you want to come up, you're welcome to join me. Otherwise, you can stay there and listen to this discourse also. But I usually like to have a conversation with people who came in, and we can uh, that way we can involve other people in this topic also. Uh, so Arpita, welcome too. So I opened this on live on other channels also, so that most of my friends can see me and listen to me on those channels also. I opened a Facebook group today. My club is Be a Pal, as you can see it on the top. That Be a Pal Facebook group is created today so that I can be more accessible to ongoing conversations. People are sending me messages in disparate ways, either back channel here or Instagram or WhatsApp, Facebook. I'm receiving several channels. I want to consult them. This is also another attempt towards that. So I created this BA PAL Facebook group, and the link is on my bio, top of the line. If you go there, and then you will be going to that Facebook group. I don't know whether it is a hot link or not, but I think you need to copy that and paste it in a URL. Then you will go there. I invite you to come and join that. It's going to be some good discussions, and I'll also come live there and discuss with my friends. I used to do this with India, which is what are called Kulusu Gurukul. With that, I used to talk to my friends and family who are very young, below 20, and they had stresses related to education, to the careers, and all those problems. So I used to be there so that I can talk to them live, so at least once a week, and also answered all their questions. That worked out very well. This was before pandemic, in 2015, 16, like that. And then I continued that group, but I don't see them that much because they all have careers and they have gone from Hyderabad. Basically, most of the people are from Hyderabad. And now they do communicate with me, other channels also. That's all fine. But now, this group is intended for my social media friends whom I accumulated. I'm coming to 9,600 on Clubhouse, and also LinkedIn. I have like close to 2,000, and the same with Instagram and all these other channels too. So this could give a centralized meeting place for me to be available, and then to be able to present my webinars, my master classes, worksheets and polls and all those things. I just want to share whatever I have learned in the process of dealing my own life's stresses, and also making wellness as a priority. Wellness for me is like, if we have a body that is strong, supple, flexible, and also energetic. And the mind that is alert in the present and in the awareness, and a heart that is peaceful but at the same time loving too. And overall, we have joy in our life. We have activities we do with joy, relationships we conduct with joy. And overall, if you are healthy and in the present, I think you could be very joyful in whatever you do. I do have a lot of things that I could really be thankful about. That is the abundant attitude that I go with, and that makes whatever you have is really enjoyable too. Actually, I enjoy these talks very much because I get a chance to share with friends and family, and also new followers or new acquaintances here. I made a lot of friends here, and then they invite me to several of the clubs. If time permits, if I'm not occupied with my work, I go there and listen to them. I participate. And that is very meaningful to me. I actually enjoy these things. That's why I opened that Facebook group also. There will be a club also where all the yoga sessions, all the meditation sessions, all the things that I do will be moved to, and there will be a monthly subscription for which they can get access. It will be morning 7 o'clock and evening 7 o'clock, so that it will fit also time zones. That's what we thought. So that those are the plans coming along, and my team is trying very hard to advertise these facilities, and they asked me to talk about these things in the rooms. So anybody wants to come up and talk, you're more than welcome to come up and talk to me, pose questions. Even on the Instagram, I did not open the Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn channels for people to come in, because we just started to use it a few days ago. But I will be doing that very soon also. But that may be too much for me to handle. Right now, I'm asking people from Clubhouse and Instagram to come up if they wish to. So anyway, I was talking about a morning routine to make us living simple of A, B, C, D, E. Okay, A stands for awareness. When you get up in the morning, usually we end up thinking a lot of things, and the thinking takes us to so many places. So we get lost, or we open our social media or TV, and then all the outward world comes. It doesn't give a chance for us to deal with ourselves. But when you first open, you are just aware. Stay with it for a while. That's what I'm inviting you to. Don't get into the rigmarole of the thought created network. Just stay away from it for a few minutes, and then communicate with the nature. Communicate with the things that are going on in your body. Communicate with what is happening with your fellow family members, or anybody, any pets, any plants. Spend some time with nature, and then after a while, then start to have deep breathings, and that's the B for the breathing. That deep breathing really calms your nerves down and calms your mind down. And also, oxygenation is increased, you will have some energy coming into. So aware, deep breathing. When you're deep breathing, you can be aware of the touch of the air on the alanase, and also the sound of the air that is going in and out. That kind of awareness will be very helpful to you. After that, couple of cultural factors. See for the cultural factors of being grateful, appreciating what we have in abundance. Whatever we have positive, just appreciate that. And also have a service attitude of what can I do for the world, what can I do for the family, what can I do for my wife, whatever it is. The service attitude, if you develop that, those are the cultural factors I really strongly try to bring into my mind in the morning. Okay? And then the D is for the devotion, or what's called dhyana. Dhyana in Sanskrit is meditation. So you embark on that. Then the E is for the energy. Okay, how you want to not to deplete your energy by thinking of the past or by afraid of the future. None of that. If you can focus on what you want to do here and now, your energy will not be depleted. You will be focused, and also you don't have the interfering thoughts. So in flow status, we enjoy our stuff, and also we get to do things in a qualitative way. That way the results will be much better. So that is a morning routine I kind of summarized for people. Otherwise, uh, each letter can be discussed at length, but I want to make it simple. That's why awareness, breathing, cultural factors of gratitude and also service attitude, and D for the dhyana or the meditation or devotion, and don't waste your energy unnecessarily. So this is a formula I kind of talk a lot about, but this is the first time I simplified like that. But before I used to tell like an hour and a half. Obviously, people are, who are interested stayed and listened to it. And but some people question me, give us a simple way to do the morning routine. If your morning routine is good and you are energized and then you are kind of balanced within, and with that service attitude, with that grateful attitude, you step out to the world and you want to interact with people, you will be less reactive because your deep breathing helps you to be non-reactive because it stimulates parasympathetic nervous system. When you have that parasympathetic nervous system stimulated, you are naturally non-reactive. You are more like uh, really responding to the task that you encounter. Your whatever duties you have, whatever task you have, if you are really responding to them rather than emotionally reacting to them, you have less stress hormones in your system. That way, it is better for you not to react to trivialities. It becomes so much easier once you have this principle of that. And then over the time, you will learn not to be reactive to trivialities, even the big things also. What you are doing by reacting, you are basically wasting all your energy. That kind of thing. And then once you go there and then your energy is saved and you are not depleting the energy, and as you are working, you are grateful for providing a service to somebody. In my case, to the patients. Okay, if I have that attitude, I do my job much better. So I like to see that is there. It is naturally there. And then I enjoy my patient care. That's why, because I make friends, I kind of help them in their distress, and they usually express their gratitude, their affection to me. All that makes it worthwhile, even though we don't expect to do that because professionals, we have to help the patient. That's our job. That's why we get paid for and we get to the title and everything. So that goes on very well. Of late, I was more like a telehealth, so it's much easier for me to do those things now. Okay. So with that, anybody wants to come up, I'm once again inviting you to come and involve in a discussion, a conversation, so that it will be much more pleasant for me. Okay. Otherwise, the people on the stream may not be interacting with me, so I could stop that and then continue conversation um, on the Clubhouse and Instagram Live. Okay. So I will start the stream on the other channels because that will be too long for them probably. Okay, David wants to come up. Okay, let's see. Okay.
Dr. Rob.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, David, how are you?
Good. I'm curious where you have your program that you mentioned. Like, is that online or
Yeah,
where would someone find that?
that's a Facebook group. I created that group and the link I put on the top of my bio.
Okay, I'll try to look at that.
Yeah, that's just a more interaction with people who are
Yeah,
messaging me. That would be nice. So,
yeah. Um, can I ask you another question about
yeah,
something that you
yeah, yeah,
had
please.
said? It's something that I struggle with.
Yeah,
Is this place of being professional? and
Ah,
being friendly,
yeah,
and that's what you had just
yeah,
spoke about.
yeah,
Do you know that part when you said that?
yeah. So the professional being really understanding what is our duty, and
Hello.
then yeah, I'm sorry, I'm speaking with my mic muted. So sorry. Uh, yeah, I was talking about the being professional is in a spiritual sense. What they taught us was whatever you are meant for, you will have to completely focus and do it. Not for the reward, but also not thinking I am the one who is doing it, not having an agency. That is the real karma yoga. You are destined to do this job, you are given this task, and then so you kind of accept it and do it with the joy, or with thinking that I'm being asked by divine to do this. That is the way the real professionalism comes, where even simple language like you are paid for or you are hired for, you are given this responsibility, so you want to deliver to the best of your ability. So that kind of thing requires just to focus. Lots of time individual thoughts and recurring thoughts really disturb us from our what we are doing. We may be skilled something and we will do it unconsciously too. But what is required is you show complete focus and attention to whatever you are doing. In my office, I have a saying, we're saying attention to every action. Whatever we do from morning till evening, if you pay complete attention, what happens is you really get relaxed and on the job and at the end of the job too. But if you are worried about too many things that are not related to the job, then you're going to not able to do that with real perfection. And then you may think, like, I have not given my all, then you feel guilty about that. So the best way to do this focus is practicing being focused. Okay, that means attention to every action. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, be conscious about what you are doing, how you are doing, and what is coming out. A simple logic they said was work with your hands but with a silent mind. Silent mind means not thinking about anything other than what we are doing. So be here and now in the present and then do that. That way you feel like your day goes faster and then your results are much better and you feel much better that way too. So it's all a question of how you are doing without being distracted by your past memories and living in those memories, or living in the future with the hope, with the anxiety, with the fear, and all those things come. But if you are focused on what you are doing, those things will be much less. See, that's what you have to do. Work amount is not the problem. It is the invading thoughts that are problem for us to get the good results. So with meditation, with understanding, concentrating the thought and going beyond the thought, or replacing negative with the positive thoughts, all those things are techniques that I teach people, because people come with different types of mindsets, right? So we have to deal with wherever they are without expecting them to be perfect. Just help them from where they are. Some people may come and say, I can't really focus at all. My thoughts go all over. Then you teach them how to concentrate that. After that, if they say, I have too much negativity in me, I think of this all this negative, then you help them how to replace with the positive. The basic thing is whatever you are doing, practice awareness, practice being in the present, practice being conscious. Okay. Does that help, David?
Super helpful.
Yeah.
Super helpful. Thank you. Do you mind just speaking of some of the modalities that you use? You talked about meditation.
Yeah.
Almost sounds like CBT in there as well.
CBT, all those are modern things, but I go pretty deep in the ancient practices, which are like real adult things compared to what we have in the psychotherapy and psychology. See, what these people do is they make us feel guilty about something happened, something somebody did, and all. My style is, how can I empower the person who has really come to me for some clarity or some kind of control within themselves? I like to teach them how to empower themselves. Okay, so that takes a lot of time. It's not like a simple technique or anything, but you have to assess the person, and you have not to analyze the person, just to see where they are. And then don't establish yourself like a teacher, but more like a friend and a professional, where you can guide them to their own inner strength. A lot of people don't know, but then after you give them some pointers, some help, some encouragement, they discover it. Once they discover it, they will be super joyed. I've seen so many of my doctor friends, they never thought that they could develop such kind of awareness. But once they found that awareness, they were employing it, and then they were very, very good. So, for example, one of my friends, he's a very nice guy, but he gets irritable easily. So he is on the floor always fighting with the nurses because he wants one way and they want the other way. And they are never meeting each other, right? His irritation takes him over, and then he's barking at them, and then they are becoming enemies for him, and they're making his life more miserable. So I taught him just to take a second and draw back that irritation and see what happens. And then he was able to notice that he was doing that. And after that, he stopped doing that. Immediately, he was able to see their viewpoint. And then they came in middle and met. So he had a change in his attitude. And I also told him just to smile at them, just greet them with a smile, be friendly first, and then you can start working. So when he was doing that, the moment he smiled, all those people also melted too, and then they also gave him help to really do that particular task. So just being aware of that irritation I'm exhibiting, this is doing it, he was able to do that. So it's a not a something that you learn 3 or 4 steps and do it. You have to be doing what's called sadhana. That is kind of practice, abhyasa they call it. You have to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to come up? So those are the areas I want to help people with burnout solutions. I changed the room title this because I came up with a new program yesterday where I'm going to talk about living in the present on Sunday, which I did yesterday. And today is the simple living and high thinking. And tomorrow and 4 days in a row, we are going to talk about wellness ways, the 4 pillars of wellness: the food, activity, rest, and also thought. These are the 4 pillars I always talk about. People don't take a self-care proper. That's why we try to teach them comprehensive self-care. And Saturday we'll end up with therapeutic lifestyle changes. So all these wellness space can be put into a lifestyle that people can practice. Then they themselves help them. People don't eat on time, or don't eat when they are hungry, or don't eat by sitting down. All those are problems. That is the case with our doctor friends, because they have to focus on the patient care. Sometimes they don't really get 5 minutes to sit down and eat. But it's so important that you get to pay attention to that. So it's a question of really paying attention to our lifestyle. Thereby, we can really help ourselves. So this new program is going to be for a while, for a few weeks this way, so that people get a hang of what I'm talking about, and then they can. Hi, Sonal, welcome. Good morning, Doctor. Good morning. Yeah. So you missed my initial part of it. I was telling them how I did this Facebook group today, um, you find that link. It's like a BA Pal Facebook group. I created this so that people all can come and message me there and see some of my posts and then involve. They can also post if they want to. But that's going to be for my friends and whoever following me and all that. Okay. And I was telling them this weekly program I have. It started yesterday. We talked about living in the present yesterday, right? Today I want to talk about simple living and high thinking. I already said the initial statement of why I think that's a very good way for us in this modern age with multitasking, information overload, and all that. And then tomorrow to Friday, I'll be discussing wellness space, those four pillars of wellness. And then Saturday, we're going to talk about therapeutic lifestyle changes. I really think the lifestyles should be examined and then we can adjust them. And you will be surprised how many small little things we can notice and change ourselves. Then that way you will feel really good. For example, if you go to work, everybody goes to work and gets completely involved and then tries their mind and then comes out of the work really aches and pains in the body and also headache I've seen a lot of my nurses, a lot of my doctors do that. So what I taught them was, how about if I teach you to do some exercise while you are at work, and also um, how you can relax your mind on the job. you know so I told them, park the car away from the building, just walk. Everybody knows about that. Just do it consciously, and then don't take the elevator, take the steps as much as you can. And also, if you can go up the steps, don't go relaxedly, go two steps at a time. The same routine that you are doing, you do a little bit of attention to this, moving the body and making it exercise. And suppose you are in the chair, I teach what's called office yoga, that you can do to really get your neck and back not get stiff and all that. So that kind of thing. And also, I teach them how to be meditative while they are walking in a long corridor. So you don't have to go to a special yoga studio and all of that just to do this simple exercises while you are doing it. Now, another thing is, while you are working, you can notice which part of your body is getting weak or more stressed or not. People know upper back really gets stressed if somebody comes and gives a back rub, or the neck is down all the time because you are paying attention to the phone in your hand. Then what happens is you'll develop the cervical pain, that kind of thing. So be aware of your body a little bit and be aware of what's going on in your mind. That helps to solve a lot of problems. What do you think about that, Sonal?
Yes, doctor. I mean, I myself, I'm in front of my desk, sitting on a chair. Yeah. So yeah, true. I mean, this exercise is like now since we are working from home, the first thing that comes into our mind that yes, we don't have the time, and that really will help. Yeah. Whatever. And this today's topic is really something very nice. I mean, simple thinking, simple living, and hiking. Yeah. And that it covers both aspects of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mental health as well as your something which we say. Yeah. How we can have some high-fi things in the life that makes impact. Simple things.
Yes.
That really makes impact.
See, they were simple because they didn't have any uh, real desire about a lot of things. They wanted, what is important: the eating, drinking, and having some shade and some clothing. And that clothing was minimal. But they didn't have something like these external things created by our culture. I'm a victim, you are a victim, everybody's a victim. We buy things thinking that, oh, this is making us happy and all that, right? And after a while, after a certain age, you realize, okay, they are taking us for a ride, asking us to buy all these things. And then they even Steve Jobs said, I want to create uses that they never dreamt of on the phone. He did too. and then that's a destructive creation or something like that, But basically, if you see the culture, even in the Facebook, everybody talks about how to monetize, how to make money, that is the gold standard, right? So we are so deep into the consumerism, we are doing stuff all the time at the expense of our own being. We don't take care of ourselves, we don't look at the inside, and then we are never happy because we're always running, right? So that is all over the world now. It's not one place. But what fascinated me was when ancient said, I found a diamond within me, I found happiness within me, I found contentment within me. And that's where I kind of marched onto the life. But now you have to have a job, a salary, and all those things are there. And then they get us caught in that. But lately, people are revolting to that. You see, after pandemic, this movement of resignation from the jobs has started. It's a national phenomenon. See, a lot of people discovered, hey, I can do without much. I can be happy without earning all this. What I'm doing when I'm going there, I'm getting all this abuse and all this little money for which I'm sacrificing my relationship with my family, and I don't have any time to develop myself within. I don't have any peace and quiet. I'm just making money for somebody and they're amassing it. So a lot of people are discovering I don't have to go to the office. I can do remotely and I can have more time. So China, I don't know you heard it now, 696. That is the thing that they are objecting to. That China, they have to work 6 to 9, 6 days a week. So they are overworked, and then they are jumping from the buildings, and they have to put nets underneath so that people who are jumping will be caught in that, they won't die. So that rampant consumerism everywhere has done that. So that's why I always told people who are burnout, I said, take a break, take a few days. I even in the peak of my practice when it was so busy, I had to see so many patients every day. I don't have any coverage. I used to take a weekend off, at least 2 or 3 days together. Now in the off instance, I have my own practice, so I can go and do whatever I wanted to do. But then after the practice is done, I can relax in my own office and at home and all that. And we used to go to neighborhood. Neighbor Chicago is only 90 miles away, so we used to drive there and spend time for that day. But sometimes that is also very difficult because I may have serious patients in the hospital. Then if somebody else comes for admission, then I have to. So at least few hours we used to go away. But I developed this vacating the mind habit. I learned it from Krishnamurti, Jay Krishnamurti. So what it is whenever you are putting a lot of thought and information, that is the nature of our work right nowadays, and really riddled with a lot of brain fog. So there is a way to really clean that up. So ancients didn't have this kind of thing. They were manual workers or the people who are working with the mind. They know how to keep the mind clear. Okay. So they didn't suffer this kind of onslaught of multiple stimuli, onslaught of volumes of information. They were actually so brave and everything. The brevity of those small poems was so stupendous. I can take one Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which is only 2 lines. I can talk to you for 3 months on that. They are so deep and so valuable, packed with information and wisdom. You know, but their style was to write the books like that. Patanjali Yoga Sutra is only 195 two-liners. You know, dohas they call it, right? Two-liners, 195. Even all those suttas, tulsidas, they're all very brief about what they write. So it is a reflection of what their mind is. Instead of talking for hours and hours like we do, they used to talk only briefly. Rest of the time, they were cultivating this silence. So my trick is, I do it when I'm working also. I don't let my mind be, even on this club, when I come here, I kind of talk a lot, but then at the end of it, I wash it off completely. It has become a habit, So I think Sai
Nice
wants
to
to.
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to hear. Even I was thinking, late night I was thinking, what are good practices? I mean, any practice to become a habit, it takes 21 days.
Yeah.
So, and it's very difficult because our mind will take us from that particular goal and will divert us. And we have to
Exactly.
come back slowly to our mind that, okay, yeah, you have to do this.
Yeah.
This is for better.
Yeah. No, Sonal, do one thing. Just remember this statement: simple living and high thinking. Okay, even if you don't remember everything else, just remember the statement. And the only thing I want you to do is that real in my life or not? Okay, you don't have to answer to anybody anything. You can know whether you are outwardly simple and living with a few things and doing stuff very simply and all that, or you have to have so many things to be feeling good that day. And high thinking is not thinking too much. High thinking is thinking about what we call elevated thinking. Any thinking that is not self-oriented, that's all selfish, but it is oriented to the problems of the world, problems of society, problems of the country. At that level, if you can elevate the frequency, like for example, today I saw a story in Afghanistan because their assets was frozen by United States. They don't have any money coming in to the all these helping organizations that get the money. They are also not getting the money. So the kids are not getting the enough food and all that. So many kids they showed they were malnutritious. They were really completely cachectic. No skin on the bones. Skin on the bones only, no muscle, no fat at all. Those kids are all dying because they don't have nutrition. You know, so that kind of thing, uh, most of the people don't pay attention to because their life is happy, their life is convinced that's okay. But that doesn't become high thinking. When you think outside of yourself, and then see, I'm in touch with this suffering happening in everybody all the time. Whether I want it or not, people will come and tell me those things. At the time, I just can divert them or help them to alleviate it, and that is a very satisfactory thing, for me to do. So in that way, I just want to do that. And also, it makes you feel bad when you see kids like that. You know, Instead of developing immunity for it or pushing it aside like that's not my problem, you kind of think about what kind of civilization has produced that kind of situation for these kids, the war and all. Do you think about those major things? That is the high thinking. Am I clear, Son?
Yes, doctor. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way. I mean, now
Yeah.
for every, I mean, I see every country wants to rule the other country.
Yeah.
For all the conflict has started.
Yeah.
No one is contented with their own growth, or everyone wants to overtake the other.
Yeah. Sai, what do you think about that? Higher thinking. Is he there? Sai, are you there?
Hello, sir. Sorry, I missed the point because I was a little bit occupied with something. Could you please repeat if
No,
that is possible?
I'm not going to repeat. It's a long thing. I don't want to repeat it. Because basically, think out of yourself. Not your self-centered thing, but think outside of yourself. Like so many problems are there. In United States also, we see all these racist thing going on, blatant discouragement of the humanity and all that. And we feel very bad about that too. Take for example, climate thing going on in the Europe, right? The meeting, Obama was there, and he was kind of arguing for the sake of the planet, and people were blaming him too. They said he did not put the money where his mouth was, and that. But he's not the only one. Though Congress and everything is there, he stood for that very much. Even in his um, present address when he first elected, he said, a planet in peril. So he was aware, sensitive to that. He worked a lot. He got the Paris Agreement, and then later on, the other president cancelled it. So, but he was there. He didn't have to be there as a former president, but he went there and he stood for the cause, and he was asking for action. And he told the uh, youngsters who were criticizing him, he said, "Yeah, be angry like that, be considerate like that. One, you can blame me and other leaders also because we did not act properly." So he was putting everybody, including himself. That is high thing. Medgar, welcome.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do echo with you.
Yeah.
So when you I mean, it's all about the brought up, I would say. So if one needs to probably think high, I would rather say that we need to cultivate that in the younger generation. So consider if what we teach to our children is really important.
Yeah,
So
no, what we do
if
is
we
important.
want,
What we do is important.
yeah,
Then they will learn. If you just tell them, they say,
absolutely,
that's what they're saying now. And the climate, that was going on. All these youngsters are saying, these are all empty promises you guys made. We don't trust you. I think they're right, absolutely. Because I heard those promises since 80. People who sign these accords, they say, we're going to do that. And they let the planet go to dogs. You know. Let's see, Medgar. Hi, Medgar. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am
I'm
great.
enjoying the conversation. It's very informative.
Yeah. So, what do you find interesting, Medgar? You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, just as you were saying, it's about in the world,
Yeah.
people have seen the politicians
Mm-hmm.
say things but not do things, and it's important for us to uh, act and show and demonstrate because the younger generations and just people, there's just too many people in the world that have seen the corruption and everything. And so if you're not leading by example, then no one's paying attention to you. So I agree with what you're saying.
See, Obama was bringing to the attention that both China and Russia didn't even bother to attend. And China, I believe, they made a promise to cut down the coal levels, but then they were hit with this energy crisis. So they have increased the coal levels again. And also, they want to do whatever they want to do, and that it's not going to happen. All the humanity has to come together in this war. And so he was pointing that out. Other people were not really pointing that out that way. The youngsters said, we don't want any more accords. We want action. We want action in the sense of all these things are met by 2030, all these requirements, and they are very aware, the young people. So I would say young people have higher thinking now because they are thinking about the planet. They are not thinking about only their lives. They are thinking about the planet and future generations and everything else. Maybe they have some concern about their future too. That's okay. But they are reaching out beyond their self-centered thinking to something a bigger cause. That's why I say they have the higher thinking. And most of the youngsters are into minimalism now. They don't want too many things. They don't want to buy too many things. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
you're right.
Yeah. So definitely, it's the parents who have to really change, and then they are actually sleeping. Since the 1980s, I've been seeing this struggle about the planet, and people talk a lot, and for a couple of years they will do something, and then again they go back to even the George Bush, the second, when he came in, lot of pollution standards were increased before him so that companies won't emit all these gases so that our pollution will be less. But this guy comes and with one sweep, he releases all of them. So all these people started to pollute again. So it was, it was like, yeah,
He's one of the main oil
yeah,
people, and it's just amazing that Americans, they're so blinded,
yes,
by the politics, and America has been dumbed down,
yes,
to be so ignorant.
Yeah, exactly. Dumbed down. That's correct.
It's unbelievably just. I'm from America, and I'm 58 years old, and I just don't understand. But the education system, everything is just has been just watered down.
Yeah, I know. The dumbing down is really the correct word, my dear, because people don't want to take people to something like a, more aware, more conscious about what's going on in the world, and more about self-centeredness, more about me all the time. So if you allow everybody to be like that, but then the teenagers and everybody, they have this natural revolt nature, and they were freshly thinking. So those people are together now. They are forming such a union. I'm very hopeful when I saw their spirit in organizations, in meetings, in the rallies they're conducting, and then when come on the interview, the balance with which they talk, I'm really impressed. I'm really happy. At least that generation has taken up the mantle, but all these other people, they want to have their stupid. Look at that mannequin, that Democratic guy, Virginia guy. What he did about the whole, he wanted to hold the whole bill. He watered it down, and now he wants to hold the whole thing too. So, I mean, these people never change. Just for the livelihood, few people, he has to hold the entire planet at stake. Otherwise, Biden government is going to pour several trillions of dollars into the climate change. But now they watered it down, the whole bill. They may pass it, but then they passed the infrastructure now, and they are going to go to the build back bill that they cut down so much, and then some of it will be against the climate change problem. This is what happens every time. So they come into the power saying that we will do it, and the ones they are in the power, they don't want to do it. There's something, some constitutions, some lobbyists came, and then they are not able to do all of that. So yeah,
It seems as that you know you can call it God or whatever, but it's going to be an act of nature. It seems that will create change, absolute change. It's going to be. I mean, like this COVID-19 really is a spiritual awakening.
Yeah. I didn't want to say that because I'm a physician, and I didn't want to say that. But then some of the circles I have in India, and this particular gentleman, he was very instrumental producing vaccines, way back, and then he gave a vaccine free to several countries. So he was a very conscious, very unselfish person, really. He said the same thing. This is divine force. That's why it is coming with such vengeance, and then it is correcting everything. It reduces the pollution. It kind of made people help each other and also discover their own strength in and all that. He described a lot of things. It seems like nature has its own power that it will rectify. By the way, one of the sages that I kind of learned a lot from, he said something like that. His name is Ramana Maharshi. That was the time when Nazis were raising in Germany, and it seemed like Hitler was unstoppable. Still, Second World War has not happened, right? So he was occupying country after country, and then it seems like he's going to cover all over the world, and everybody afraid of what he's going to do. Use gases up to like he did with the Jews. He hated Indians also, I believe, Hitler, so he thought only his blood is pure, everybody else is not, right? So they went and asked him, "What is going on, Swami? What do you think? This man is invading everybody and occupying." And at that moment, he said very coolly, "Look, there is a creator. He created the creation and he will take care of it. Don't worry about it." And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's what you are saying
Absolutely.
in a way, Medgar. So
Well, when you look at
yeah,
being a doctor,
yes,
I mean, this basically we know that the virus is a real thing, but it's invisible.
yeah,
And when you look at, I mean, I was raised Christian,
yeah,
right? But even in the biblical text of the prince of the power of the air,
yeah,
the prince of the power of the air, if you look up that term,
yeah.
it's identified as the devil.
Ah, okay.
And in the prophet of when you think about what Jesus said
Mm-hmm.
in the Christianity text, and in I believe that the scripture is John 8, verse 12,
Mm-hmm.
he says, "I am the light of the world."
Yeah.
But most people don't understand the context of that. The
Mm-hmm.
light of the world is the sun.
Yeah.
And when you think of the sun and all the trees that reside on earth,
Mm-hmm.
the trees on the earth are the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
And through the process of photosynthesis,
Yeah.
which is basically photo,
Yeah.
means light synthesis.
Yeah.
The reason why we breathe
Mm-hmm.
the oxygen is through the light and the photosynthesis that occurs continuously.
Yeah.
And so there's this spiritual battle between the Son of Man,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what Jesus called himself, the Son of Man,
Yes.
and the Prince of the power of the air.
Yeah.
So you can kind of, and it's basically,
Other scriptures said the same thing, Medgar, in a way. In the Hindu scriptures, for example, there is this book called Bhagavad Gita. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. That is considered very sacred for Hindus, right? In that, the actual, like a parable with the God, Krishna is the incarnation of the divine force. And he tells, this is the one important sloka according to Ramana Maharshi. He says, "I am the force that is residing in all living beings, not just human beings, all living beings, that
that's
life
right,
force. So I am the beginning, middle, and end of it."
exactly.
Yeah, so once you see that, out of that, they developed this Indian greeting Namaste, where you kind of, even if you don't know that you have that remnant of divinity in you, Namaste should remind you that I'm identifying the divinity in you, and that divinity gives you both of the mind and the body. But then you're so stuck up in the mind, you forget what your divinity is. That's the problem. So
That's right.
you have to go beyond that mind. See,
And
yeah,
as a doctor, right?
yeah,
The mind, just as you said,
yes,
the energy, the
Mhm.
electricity that resides in our heart
Yes.
also resides in our mind.
But
But
actually,
if you
heart
lead
comes
with your
first.
mind and not
Medgar,
your heart,
yeah, Medgar, heart comes first. Out of
that's
heart,
right.
mind comes. But we think mind is the primary thing, heart is the secondary thing. That's the
The
problem.
heart, the heart, the heart from the time you're conceived in the womb,
Yeah, exactly.
it operates until all this flesh goes back to the earth,
Yeah,
but the energy in the heart reconnects
yes.
with the source.
Exactly, exactly. It's already there. That is the source.
Already there.
Yeah, already there in the heart, but we forget about it because we let our mind dominate. Actually,
right.
there is new research happening on the heart, which has much more memory than the mind is. So there is an explanation given to me by the spiritual circles. What it is we are essentially the spiritual heart. Out of that, this I thought comes because it has to provide the way to survive and the way to make a living and learn skills and all that. But that's not its role. Beyond that, it is not supposed to be identified as us. That is our problem. Modern man, what he thinks, I think, therefore I am. No, wrong. You are conscious, therefore you are. And then thought comes. So once you let the thought domination go, then you are in your heart. Then you don't assess anybody, analyze anybody, or differentiate anybody, because the spiritual heart, the heartfulness, is all one energy. That is what physics is proving now. Unified field of
Oh yeah,
physics. Yeah.
the double slit experiment. Even Albert Einstein,
Yeah.
he called it spooky action from a distance.
Yeah.
Because the light
I know.
can be both a particle and a wave
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah, it's the energy that he talked about. And then they made a beautiful documentary out of that. Einstein didn't want to believe that, but they said if should be alive now, he would have really agreed with that. Because,
yes.
yeah, further things are. There was a contemporary of Einstein, his name is David Bohm. I came across his work and his talks and all that. He was taken by one of our, he's an educator or seer. He doesn't call himself like a guru or teacher or anything. His name is J. Krishnamurti. He said something like this: observer is observed. And this Dr. David Bohm, he's a very renowned scientist, a physicist at the time of Einstein. He was very young when Einstein was there, but then he worked with him for a while. And then Einstein passed away and he became, I caught him around his 60s or 70s, that area. But what Krishnamurti was talking about, the mind is really not there. That means he wants ending of the time in the sense of thought, ending of the thought, right? That is a very phenomenal thing for me to understand as a scientist, as a physician, and then really understand the role of thought, where it is appropriate, where it is dangerous. In human relationship, it is dangerous. Practical matters is okay, but then if you make a bomb with that kind of mind, what are you doing? We're kind of threatening each other. Probably will blow us up too, very, very, very quickly. So see, we came very close to some presidency that goes into people who do not have the balance. What can happen? We have seen that very quickly, right? So this is a big battle. Everybody thinks I am thinking. That's why I am the thought, and all the images, everything that I built up are my thing. This is my personality. This is my ego. This is the way the world should be. Actually, they are far removed from the heart, and that's why all the suffering happens to them too. So in India, there is a big movement way back. It's called Mukti. That means liberation from your thought, from your mind. And now modern Indians are pitifully, pathetically forgot about it. And they are sucked into modern security, especially these IT people. They are completely sucked into this. So they lost that heritage, what they were telling about. Americans are taking it up. A lot of my American friends, they are very sincere, very serious about it. They spend a lot of time on that. But if I have to talk to the Indian crowds, lots of times they don't want to listen to it because they are steeped in their own superstition and all this. But if you closely examine, like you quoted Bible, I quoted Gita, both have the same message in a little different context, but exactly the same.
Exactly the
Yeah.
same. Because one of the things you said that's so profound is I can't. You said something about I am.
Yeah.
Right. So in the Christian context, and there's a passage where in the book of Exodus, chapter 3, verse 13 and 14, is one of the times where God is in a conversation with Moses.
Mm.
And Moses
On the mountain,
asked God,
yeah. On the mountain, yeah. Sure.
right, on Mount Sinai,
Yeah,
he asked God, what is his name?
Mm.
And God said his name was I am.
I am. I am that I am. That is a
Right.
profound statement. ancient not Hindus, they are not even Hindus. The ancient Indians, they said, "I am that," and "I am that I am" is much more explanatory than just "I am that."
Right. Well, you know what I learned from that statement
Yeah.
Years ago was that, I was wondering why, because it sounded awkward. But if you ask yourself,
Yeah.
who's the most powerful force in your life? You would say, I am.
Now, this is a big discussion in ancient Indian Vedas and Upanishads, right? They are fundamental texts, right? What they did was, for each Veda, they had one great sentence, that is Mahavakya. With that one statement, you will know the meaning of entire existence. One of the first one is Aham Brahmasmi. Aham means me, Brahmasmi means that vast, universal intelligence, God, or whatever it is. So I am that. The next sentence also Tat Asi. That is also the same thing. Pragnanam
Yes.
Brahma. So there are four sentences that explain the entire thing, and through those Mahavakyas, Vakya means sentence, Maha means big. With that they have done excellent exposition of existence and commonality of the humanity and what the humanity has to do. The biggest thing was turn inside and realize that I am. I am that I am. You have to realize by turning inward, not by intellect going out, senses going out. That's what Western culture also moved away from what Jesus said, I am that I am. They should have followed that.
Exactly. One of the things I learned too was that, when I was studying as a young man, I remember the periodic table.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that everything that I could see, touch, smell,
Mm-hmm.
and basically sense through my senses was on the periodic table. But the one thing that's not on the periodic table was light or photons.
Yeah.
And so Jesus said, I am the light of the world.
Yeah.
So without light, nothing exists.
Exactly. Even the sun, you see, the thing is, take the sun and the moon. The sun is like a self-luminous, whereas the moon is the reflected luminosity, because sun lights up the moon reflects that as moonlight onto the earth. So our mind is like that too. Our spiritual heart is the real self-luminous sun, and that throws the light on this, and that the self-luminous light is what Krishna said, I am in everybody. That light is in everybody, right? So when this mind is illuminated by that real light, if you think the mind is your light, then you are misled. You are missing the sun.
That's right. Amazing knowledge that the prophets all over the world.
Exactly. That's one thing, Edgar. Everybody said the same thing ultimately.
The same thing.
Yeah. That's why I don't have any differentiation. I don't even identify myself as anything. I learned that from Ramana, from J. Krishnamurti. They are Indian sages, but then they never identify themselves with any particular ism, any particular caste, or any particular creed or country. They said, just human being, be that. Then that is simple living, high thinking, not getting into all this nonsense about things.
That's why I love when I stopped in. I just became mesmerized by the conversation, and I'm just thoroughly enjoying your conversation. Yeah, I really just joined the stage because I wanted to just listen.
No, I'm glad you came up. We were able to present how the Bible and Gita is the same thing. So
yes,
that's a fact. It's not something we are concocting. We were able to see that clearly. That's all. You see, look at
that's
how
the beauty. That's the beauty of of Clubhouse and social media and communication. And it just like what you said, the power of thinking can be a double-edged sword.
Yeah, exactly. And then that was a big struggle for me in the 80s when I first was introduced to this, because in India they raise you like there is a so many things, so you have to believe and all that, right? But then there is another tradition of spirituality in India. It is knowledge path. That means you have a path from your ignorance to the knowledge, what it is. Like in science, also looks from ignorance to what is real knowledge. And also, what happens with science is they kind of want some usage for that, and that's why whatever the earlier part of physics was right for certain things, but later on you move forward into that, then you have to revise. We are at the stage now at the strands and all the qualia and all the hard problem of consciousness and all that, right? But then medicine has not gone from that mechanical model. People are not just the parts that I see, heart and brain. There's a personhood, there is a thought, there is a emotional. There's so many sides in a person, right? I cannot just treat them just because with a drug. You have to understand all this interaction of that. That's where modern medicine is really lacking, I believe. And the ancient systems of medicine have found that holistic approach. Visiting them as a physician, studying them without being prejudicial about it, like this is came from my country, was very revealing to me as a physician. And one of the chief things was the mind. For example, here in mind, we kind of deal it as a more like a uh, that has its own way of producing consciousness, that's its own way of producing intelligence and all that, right? But if you really look at it, at the edge, when you go, we don't know how this spark happens, how this light comes and then animates the brain cells so that they can produce thoughts and all these things, right? So what they said ancient was not out of this cognitive mind, but their intuitive awareness through deep meditation. So there are stages of mind that beyond this. So they came to finally this. What you are talking about, the light, Medgar, they talked about like the awareness. You know, that is us really. But surrounding that, there are 5 layers. The first layer is our physical body, like a hardware. And then second layer is our energy body, that is the without that power you cannot do anything, oxygen coming in, going out now. And then next layer is the mind and nervous system, all those things, because that is also outside of us. That means mind is outside to us as an object, body is outside to us, to the real us. And then the fourth layer is where you have the understanding of the world. And the fifth layer is where your happiness, sadness, all the moods are there. So when you have all these 5 layers surrounding that one, if you can establish yourself in that real you, that is liberation from the mind and all these things too. And also they said this light will go on; it will not stop. Only thing is the light wears some clothes like a body and mind, and then they will leave it and go to the next one.
That's what I'm learning. I'm trying to learn that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be efficient with that because I heard you speaking about how important
Yes.
Your diet is.
Yeah, very much, because the diet has these bioenergies which can really agitate your mind. If you take what's called rajas, they call that, means restlessness. Um, Modern people, they eat a lot of foods that can aggravate the restlessness. They don't know about it, but they just eat that. And also there is a middle path that is a really balanced path. The other one is complete dullness. It makes you heavy, like if you use a load of potatoes and load of bread and all that, you feel heavy in your stomach, they feel like sedate. That's how it makes you dull. In subtle ways, it makes much more. So if you really want to investigate into these matters, which is very, very, very subtle, you cannot have foods that are producing this dull energy. You have to be having that equanimous energy where you are not restless or you are not dull in your mind. That is actually is a very advanced meditation practice. It's called mano nasha. Nasha means destruction. Mind, as you envision, will be destroyed by understanding you transgress it. Otherwise, you're stuck in the mind all the time. That's when we come with all these quotations, books, and everything else. It's not like a self-luminous thing.
How do I control my mind? Because I can like I just lost about 25 pounds doing fasting, and I started doing intermittent fasting, and then all of a sudden I allowed the outside world, like the stress of a job situation, affect me, or I got stressed and I started craving like sugar, and I just fell off the wagon.
See, these things, Medgar, have to like what is needed is not clever or shrewdness or erudition or scholarship. What is needed is your light will come out when you take away the obstructions that it has. So one of them is this egoic structure that we build up from birth. That I had to do that. Till I did that, it was like a torture because I could not get out of the thinking patterns and thought-induced personality, ego, and all. But once you come out of it by yourself, not by anybody else who's telling you, then you can clearly see the waves of thought patterns and emotional patterns very clear. Then you will be able to manage them much more easily. So what it needs is further investigation, further understanding. And that will come to you as you go on that thing. You see, what I don't believe in is the gurus and all these things, because you need to investigate with intuitive awareness by yourself what's going on with you. The question of who am I? Who is this I? Where it is coming from? Then you will go to the source. In yoga science, that is there. Actually, yoga is not for the body, it's for the mind. But everybody makes a big deal out of it. You can make your body healthy by doing yoga. That's true. But that was not the intention of that. The intention was to really see who we are inside. Human beings are not just eating and procreating and then dying people, animals. It's not. We have an intelligence, we have a consciousness, and you need to know that nature of yours, which is not really thought. Thought has to stop, and then you go beyond it. How do you stop that is the biggest quest. So what I'm saying is, it's not like you're on the journey. Ride it, just you will get it, as you go into that.
I do feel that, because just as you mentioned, I was having problems with my blood pressure. And I kept going to this doctor, that doctor, that doctor. And so the last I went to, he, went on the, reached on the shelf and just found another medicine. He said, "Oh, try this one." And I felt like there was no research or no, analyzing of whether the medicine was good for me. And then that's when I went into myself.
Yeah.
And I did a 4-day fast. I lost 15 pounds. And then I started going on YouTube and learning about the processes that the body goes through with each hour of fasting.
Yeah.
And then once I learned about autophagy and what causes the hunger pain and what day, like the 48 hours after I get to a certain point, I wouldn't be hungry anymore. Then I began understanding and I was able to guide myself through the fast.
Yeah.
And then at my next doctor's appointment, my blood pressure was normal.
Yes. Yours is a weight problem too. That's why, you know, I will tell you one secret about this eating. You know, a lot of people, it's a physiological thing too. Uh, Suppose you are used to some regular eating. Suppose you are doing that regularly. From the time you feel that you are hungry to the time you feel satisfied or your hunger goes away takes up to 25 minutes. You can experiment with it. You may be knowing this already too. So, whether you eat slowly or fast, whether you don't eat much, whether you don't eat anything at all, those hunger pains will go away in 25 minutes. They may come back later in a different way, but that is the regular pattern. Okay. So that's why when you are hungry, if you are eating, what happens is you eat correctly and also you will assimilate that food better. And that way, thereby, you digest as much as you have done. But this also doesn't result in fat and all that because that is needed by the body. So one of the principles, there was a document I kind of got recently. I presented in several conferences. This document about immunity. There are 8 signs people can check for themselves whether how their immunity is. One of the indicators is like you pointed out, weight. If your weight is in the range it's supposed to be, that is a good sign of your immunity. If you are maintaining the same weight for a while, in that range or so. But if you are like too fat or too thin, that's not good at all. But you have to be in that range and maintain that. How? Eat only when you are hungry. For example, yogis, they eat only once a day. But the people who are the common folks like us, a family and everything, they can use twice a day. Then they will be very healthy. But people who eat 3 meals and in between snacks, in between, what they do is they lose this diurnal rhythm of hungry, assimilation, digestion, elimination, all those processes. There's a cycle there that you get lost. And also, this habit of late night meals, that's also very detrimental to that. You don't have to even do fasting. You have to do it because of your situation. I understand. But you don't have to do that if you are having this regularity to begin with. The problem is we have no control of our own self. We are so indisciplined or so out of whack with our mind. It goes its own way, body goes its own way, emotions go the other way. And that is the way I see a lot of people coming to me. And then you got to go by their own capacity, what they can do. There's another principle too. Instead of having this intermittent fasting and all of that, if you just eat only when you're hungry, if you limit yourself only 2 meals a day and nothing in between, maybe water or something like the juices like that, but then you will naturally lose weight and also your system will accommodate better. I mean, a lot of people are doing this extra. First, they have no control of any routines, and then they do this very severe, fasting or intermittent fasting and all of that. That's all. The various systems have to be developed because we lost our natural diurnal rhythm. As a physician, I know about them, and yogis have an instinct about them, but their knowledge is only because of this. Unbelievable what's called chitta, that is universal intelligence that they tap into, and then they have all these visions about so many things, and they wrote about so many things. It's extraordinary to read them. Actually, Medgar, my MD degree, my MBA degree pale in front of their knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm so humbled by when I read some of the things that they wrote. For example, you do this 8, maybe everybody else will be benefited too. I'm going to tell you those 8 signs of good immunity that anybody can check. Don't have to take any medication, don't have to take any testing, anything. You can do it yourself. Suppose you are sleeping, right? Let's start there. Before you sleep, if you have a positive mind, positive thoughts, that's first sign. Okay. The second sign is you have a good night's sleep where you wake up completely refreshed in your body and mind. That's the number 2. Number 3 is right after you get up, you should be able to get up with absence of laziness. No laziness. I want to lie down for a few minutes, nothing like that. So you should have absence of laziness. So get up, and then you can check your weight. That's the 4th one. And then go to the bathroom, have an easy bowel movement. That is number 5. Then after going to the bathroom, you get out and go into the sun and expose your skin to the sun. And also you are moving around. Okay, so exposure of skin to sun is the 6th one. 7th one is all your aches and pains are kind of reduced because you have moved about a little bit exercise. Then you come, you want to have breakfast, you sit at the table, then you should have a good, strong sense of hunger. So these 8 things, you can check yourself how many of them are working. Am I having a good weight? Am I having a good bowel movement? Am I having good sleep, good thoughts? And am I having no absence, no laziness? And am I really exposing myself to the sun? Am I really having aches and pains? Am I doing enough exercise for that? And also, do I have good sense of hunger? These all things are there. You can tell yourself, okay, my immunity is functioning very well. But you see, this was written about 18 or 15,000 years ago, they told me. The anthropologically, they traced that particular chapter of that particular book and all that. They had them. They have written in Sanskrit on, Talapaka, they call it, and they preserved them and all that. So there was so much research went into that. So when you go to the depths, I was amazed that how many things were not told to us that were there in ancient people, There is another thing I want to tell you, Medgar. There is what's called relaxation response within our mind. Now I'm talking about modern science, but this came from yoga too. There's a connection. There was a cardiologist. His name is Herbert Benson. He was in 60s and 70s. He kind of found this yoga, mantra yoga. That means mantra is manane dhyate mantra. That means you repeat the same thing again and again and again. That becomes a mantra, right? You can do Michael Jordan. That's a mantra for you if you want to repeat. Okay, I like him as a player. I can do it, and then that will be okay. But the essence of it, this is he picked up that from that mantra yoga and developed a system, relaxation response, because he found a relaxation response happening in the brain physiologically when you do this mantra so many times. That means what happens is your chattering box mind that ceases to talk. And that is the one which really increases your blood pressure. When that goes down, then you have this relaxation response happening. That's a sattvic energy. I talked about the middle energy, that is rekta. But you have to do that continuously, at least for 15 minutes. Go to a room, sit one place, no distractions, just do this particular thing. His book is Relaxation Response. Medgar, you want to check it out, you can check it out. I gave to a lot of my patients who have high blood pressure. I was treating them, but I cut down the medications after that. So relaxation response book is a very small book. You can do that. And I think it will help you whatever you are doing with the blood pressure. You know about the fight or flight syndrome, right? The sympathetic nerve activation.
Yes.
This is opposite to that. The parasympathetic nerve system gets relaxed with this relaxation response. And once that is initiated, you have relaxation all through the body. And you can also have deep breathing. If you didn't see my yoga practice, you come and join me in the morning, 6 o'clock a.m. And then I'll take you to that, being in the awareness all through the hour. by doing exercises, by doing breathing and all that. So if you can do that, your mind will have better control and you won't be reactive that easily, And then
you're not going to believe this, but you know what I started doing when I told you my doctor and when I decided to really attack my blood pressure. So this is one thing I didn't want to say it, but I'll say it since you already indicated. I might be doing something similar.
Yeah.
What I do is I take, in the mornings, I take a glass of water and I write down my affirmation. And one of them is lower my blood pressure. And what I do is I repeat my affirmations of what I've written down.
Yeah, exactly.
And I put the water on top of the cards that I write it on. And then after I meditate on the water as I repeat it over and over again, then I drink the water. That's the first glass of water I drink in the morning.
Yeah, but it is the repetition that's working for you. The affirmation that you are repeating again and again, that is what is working for you. That is the one which is initiating this relaxation response. That's why I said any word will do. But then they were glorious in that they compiled some poems of 26 words, and then they wanted us to repeat 108 times. But you should be away from the sensate objects while you are doing that. People cannot do even 12 times now. That is an effort for them. But if you do 108 times, you will see the result. That's why they had this beads garland that has 108 pearls in it. And then they use that and do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I am with you, Medgar. I know what you are going through. And I am a modern physician. I use the medications, but I use caution. And also, I don't want to start everybody just not thinking. I first look at their lifestyles. I try to adjust them. You cannot have the adjustment of lifestyles in a day. It takes some time. So meanwhile, they can continue the medications and cut down them as the behaviors improve. Their diet, their activity, their rest, and all. Especially the thought I'm talking about, all these things I bring in. I bring in the modern understanding of the neuroscience and also ancient understanding of the mind according to the yogis. That worked for me very well. So I don't give any medication as such. I kind of teach them the lifestyles and then they can examine themselves and follow them. They may listen to me, and most of the people, that's what they do. They listen to me and then they forget about it. Or they may do 1% of it. But if they do sincerely, they will discover for themselves valid or not. I don't push any herbs or any vitamins, anything like that. I just want knowledge, understanding, and then examination of our own lifestyles and change them. Everybody wants to tell. The moment they know a little bit, they come out and say, "Oh, I also have something to say." But that's not what is important. They have to examine their own lives and apply them. And then they will be an example to other people. I can proudly say I'm 66-year-old. I don't have any medications now on me. And I've been like this for a few years now. So my own colleagues say, "Oh, you should be an aspirin and all that." Recently a study came that aspirin is not good for the people who are not taking it. See, I was introduced to a lot of things, as I said, that is very holistic, but there are a lot of people are trying to make business out of it. That's an unfortunate thing. And then a lot of people don't really even know what is yoga, and they're practicing few asanas and they tout it as though that is the everything. It makes you feel good in the body, but doesn't mean anything. There's only part of 1% of yoga. I do the physical exercise in the morning, but that is also towards something. Even doing those exercises, I keep the mind here and now, breathing deeply. Those things will work more than the asana and all. You may get some strength, some balance, some concentration and all. There some certain diseases, certain asanas are very good and all that. But then it's like driving a plane with the wings chopped off. That is what is the body yoga is. Or suppose you have the wings, you can fly into the sky. That is real yoga. Anyway, Medgar, attend my yoga class. I think you will get benefited by that.
I am. I just followed you, and
And also,
I followed you all the time.
I opened this Facebook group. Be a Pal is my club. Join my club and then join that Facebook group. That is completely free. I just want to be available for messages, posts, everything that I do. People can see that. I just opened it today. I put it on my bio, so you can see the link and then go and join that group. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to get that information right now.
Yeah. Sonal, you missed a lot of talk in between. Right?
Yeah, doctor, I was getting calls from my office.
Yeah. No, I'm just.
Early morning meeting. Yeah.
I'm just kind of pulling your leg. Is that you missed something? I know you like it, when you are there. Yeah. Medgar brought in a lot of things, so that's why we went into that. So anyway, the simple living is restricting as many things as you can, not by really punishing ourselves, but understanding and really limiting ourselves to the real needs and as much as possible. And then important thing is to have a higher thinking, more than simple living. If we are not used to that, at least elevate the thinking to something of a nature where some more noble man's thoughts or some sage's thoughts or some religious book that you like. All those things are really considering humanity as a whole, our world as a whole, are elevating your thoughts beyond your self-centeredness. That's good enough, then it will open up so many channels, and then you can understand these things at a depth. Nowadays, people don't have time for that. They want everything, a very profound question they put, and they want me to answer in 90 seconds. There is no way, So I usually tell them, okay, I can do that, because in the clubhouse, everybody has to be chance, even that person knows nothing, they have to be given a chance. For what, But then you talk about only simple, mundane affair thing. But if you want really profound things, you have to have that capacity to do the higher thinking, and that happens not with intelligence, but with persistence. If you be at it, and then a lot of illiterate people are very wise. I've seen that in all the countries. They are very wise. They instinctively know. Most of the American Indians, the native Indians, they are very intelligent. They can hear into the distance. They can sense things. They can observe things. We've seen all that in the movies. But in real life, if you go there, they have phenomenal understanding of the nature. And they say nature is different. They never say nature is different. They say, I am nature. So they are so together with that, That is high wisdom in a way, And lately in COVID, lot of these elderly Indians died because of the COVID. That's a irreparable loss for their culture, for their, all the civilization that they had, because these old people have tremendous wisdom, and that guided a lot of people during their early years and also middle age. That was the system in India too. They call this Artha Kama Moksha, Dharmartha Kama Moksha. That is, Artha means wealth, Kama means desire. You can have wealth and a desire, but in a dharma way. That is, dharma means righteous way. Don't cheat and earn, and then don't give all sorts of things for your desires. That kind of thing. And then beyond this, after all these things are done, you're grown up, made a job, and then had a family and all of that. In the old age, you are supposed to turn inward and find out who you are. That was the purpose of the human life, they said. So, in a way, all these ancient cultures have done that. Okay, I think we are past our 9 hour clock. I started 15 minutes early today. So, we will stop there then for today, and then I'll meet you again tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And I just requested the friend on Facebook. It's the
Yeah.
Be a Pal.
Yeah, Be a Pal. Yeah.
Okay. So I look forward to.
I will have some live sessions there too. So you will get an invitation when I'm going to go there on that, and then you can join if you want to. Okay.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
and namaste.
Namaste. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Bye, Sonal. Bye, Sai. I'll see you all.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
sir.
for
We had
joining.
a great discussion. It's very deep.
Okay. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye bye.
See.